I just found out a dog that I know had to be put down. It's a dog I've had a relationship with for years. Jake the English Pointer. It's very unexpected. He was just chilling with us not too long ago and he seemed healthy as a horse. You know, dogs do not live long enough. They don't. I'm so bummed out. I mean, I've known him. I've known the people that Jake's owners, you know, I'm friends with them for years. I knew their other two pointers. I knew them back when I had a pet service, you know. Jake's sort of the reason that I got Tonka. You know, I pretty much duck hunted my whole life, and then I was hanging out with Jake a lot, and I was just like, man, I hunted with Jake a few times when he was chilling with me, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna get an upland game dog, you know. You know, instead of like trying to use Ike to flush with, I was just like, I'm gonna get a pointer. So I got Tonk. So it really hurts. It sucks, man. It's like they don't live long enough, you know. I had to put a dog Tennessee down recently, and Tennessee was a dog that got stuck with me. It wasn't any dog that I would have picked out for sure. When she came in, she had cancer, so her whole 2 years living with me, she was sick, and then you know, I had to put her down. That's the one thing about Jake, is he didn't dwindle the way that Tennessee did. Tennessee was this unresponsive deaf dog, right? She was deaf. She had a lot of issues. She was brought back to the city pound like 6 times or something. And then somebody yanked her from there. And then I ended up getting stuck with her. You know, so that's the positive thing, that Jake didn't have to go through all that, because, you know, there's this quality of life issue. With Tennessee, it was just like, you know, what do I do here? You know, do I put her down now, or you know, it's just like, so Jake never really experienced that. He was healthy as a horse up until, you know, he was having some kind of blockage or something, and then they went in to fix that, and when they were in there, it was just like he had this tumor that was like, it's not good. So they just don't live long enough, you know. Really took me by surprise. Jake, though, I mean, Jake's like this, you know, he's a typical bird dog, you know, hit the ground running, you know, very, very active, you know, he's in good shape. Just, God, when was I don't know, he was over here like about a month and a half ago or something, you know, he seemed fine, you know, very healthy. Or appeared to be. Obviously, it was having some issues internally that you couldn't see, you know. Not young, but these pointers, some of them lived to be like 16 and stuff, you know. So he wasn't close to 16. He was, you know, maybe 3 years older than Tonka, 2 years older than Tonka, something like that. Not old. They just don't live long enough, you know, and then when they pass, it's like, you know, even Tennessee, the dog that I didn't pick and I sort of got stuck with, like, it hurt, you know, because I took care of the dog. So as I took care of the dog, I ended up loving the dog I did not want. It just doesn't matter, you know. It's the toughest thing. I've lost. I'm old. I'm 54. I've lost lots of pets, you know. Each time it happens, it just you know, it doesn't get any easier, I'll tell you that. It just sucks. Now, this wasn't even my pet, you know, this was just the dog I had a relationship with. It just you know, I'm sure the owners will get a new bird dog. The dog people for sure. The husband hunts. I can't see him like not hunting. I mean, you can hunt grouse and woodcock without a dog, but it's difficult. It's very difficult, you know. You could be stepping right by a grouse or a woodcock, and they're not going to flush, you know. You sort of have to, you know, have the dog to tell you where they are. So I can't see Kurt not having a dog. And his wife SARS, I can't see her not having, you know. You know, they get a hunting dog, but it's a house dog. It's like me, they keep their dogs in the house, which is great. That's how it should be. I'm not going to pass judgment on anybody that has kennels outside, you know, hunting dogs outside. Tonka comes from a line of dogs that really are, you know, like dogs that are, all of Tonka's siblings are probably living in kennels outside. They're high drive, they're very active, but it doesn't matter. Excuse me. You know, I just, you know, I don't want to like make myself more comfortable, put the dog out in the backyard. No, I'm the one that got Tonka. You sign a contract with the dog, and I understand they're animals and they can live outside and everything, but I just think dogs should live inside. Harley's having a reverse sneeze here, right, Har? It's Har. Oh man, it just doesn't get any easier, you know. I'm glad that he really didn't dwindle, you know. That's sort of the worst. I've had a few dogs die in my home, like kind of like rear up. Two. One of them not mine. One of them a client. Like the one looked like it was having a seizure. You know, that was a client. Looked like it had a seizure. You know, I think it was probably something vascular. I had a Chesapeake Bay that did something like that too. Like I took Jackie outside, came back in, and she reared up, kind of shook for a sec, and then it was just like, fuck, you know, I started giving the dog CPR. But in Jackie's case, she was old. She was a 12-year-old Chesapeake Bay, you know. So I started giving her CPR, and I was like, you know, wait a minute, what am I doing here, you know? In the one case, the dog that was like a client that had that, like something vascular or some kind of grand mal seizure, it looked like it blew a vein too. Same thing, I started giving it CPR. That dog was young though. I gave it CPR for like a half an hour. It just, boy, it just doesn't get, they don't live long enough, you know? It's like, life is short, and the dog's life, you know, it's like, as humans, we have a tendency to, you know, it's like our dogs, I can't explain this, it's like a dog's indicative of like a period of your life or something. Like say if the dog lives 12 or 13 years, there's all that stuff that happened during that 12 or 13 years. It's, you know, and you miss them, you know, you grow to love them. It's very difficult to deal with, you know. Birds too, man. My gray parrot passed away. Oh, it was horrible. I was a fucking mess, you know. You know, it's just like I don't know. I have no words of wisdom if you've lost your dog, because it just sucks. I mean, there's no. I don't have any words of wisdom. In the past, I sort of do like what my dad would do, and that's like, I'll get another dog, you know, not to replace the dog that I miss, but I'm like too busy picking up, like I get a puppy, and I'm like too busy picking up poop. You know, I'm bummed out, but I'm too busy picking up poop, so I'm like not crying anymore, you know? It sucks, man. It's the worst. It is, it's the worst. I had another dog that died at home, so 3 in total, and that was sort of like the best. It is. you know, sort of like, I think they're more comfortable. They don't really see it coming. And the other dog, Tatiana, that died at home, she was a dog. I was working at a shelter, and the dog gravitated towards me, and it was the dog that had been taken home by two people, and Tatiana each time either broke out of the house. One time she jumped through a window and ran back to the shelter. So it seemed appropriate that I adopt Tatiana, because Tatty was like just so loyal to, you know, me, you know. She really didn't have, Tatiana didn't have very many issues other than she wouldn't go home with anybody other than me. So I started, you know, taking her home with me for lunch. And so she got accustomed to my place, and I just stopped bringing her back to the kennel. She was the dog that, whether I was working or someone else was working, Tatiana was just sort of out. She could be around all dogs. She would usually just sort of like bully other dogs, not a fighter, no way, but she'd sort of bully them. Or if she'd run across that one dog that would go after her, she'd belly up. She'd just give up. She's very smart. It was a very smart dog. And she had cancer. She was very old. I mean, when I was taking her from the shelter, she was old. I can't remember what she was, how old they said she was, but I mean, she was pretty old. And so she had cancer, and then like, this is back when I had the pet service. I knew she was having some issues, and I was like, man, maybe I better take her in to be put down. And it was, I was away. Somebody had called in and said that they couldn't work, so I was doing that. And while I was away, one of my roommates said that Teddy sort of let out a noise, and that they went in there and Teddy had passed away. So I came home and Teddy had gone. Just fine, you know. I mean, you know, I'm not one of these, like, I'm not a person that thinks that, like, it's comforting to the dog. You know, animals generally, like, when they're gonna go, they want to be by themselves. That's just how it is. Like, they'll just walk off and be by themselves. So, you know, it was sort of like a good thing that I didn't have to take her in and have her put down in the doctor's office. Although she was sort of, probably, you know, most dogs, this is key. If you have to put a dog down, don't cry until the dog is gone. That way the dog doesn't really think anything's going on, you know. You take them in and don't cry until they're gone. And it's just like, well, they're at the vet's office where they've been there before. It's a dog, so they probably just think that they're getting a shot or whatever. They don't realize they're being put down. But if you know, can't keep it together emotionally, you're gonna freak the dog out before the dog goes. So don't do that. Some vets' offices will take the dog and ask you, do you want to be around? If you can't keep it together, then don't be around. You know, if you're gonna cry or something before the dog's gonna go, don't be around, you know. Just keep your shit together, you know. That's the number one. When they go, then it's time to fucking lose it, and it's fucking difficult, you know. This wasn't even my dog. It was just a dog I had a relationship with. It's tough, man. It sucks. It just sucks.